Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to look at all the cool new cards from Future Flash and Ancient Raw. Well, that's in Japan, Paradox Rift over here, that we've not had a chance to talk about before. And I'm going to be frank with you, some of these are really good. And in fact, we're starting off with a brand new EX, Cofagrigus EX. This is the one EX that was not shown off over in Japan prior to the full reveal of the set. But the good news is we have now had the full reveal of the set, so we can have a look at Cofagrigus EX. And you've seen I've already opened an Elite Trainer box, so that means I've actually got the English text. I would have translated these myself, and I feel pretty confident I could have. I might have gone and had a look to check just in case. I could have translated these myself. I didn't even need to, ladies and gentlemen, because I've got the English text. So Cofagrigus here has got the ability Gold Coffin. If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. Now what's very important, it says if this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon. Now that means it has to be damage, not damage counters, admittedly. But it also means this works on the bench. If you're sitting on the bench and you're KO'd, you get to search any one card. And because, of course, you're being KO'd, that's your opponent's turn, which means it's going to come into your turn as you get the perfect card for your turn. That's pretty good, although you're giving up 2 prizes to do so. The attack is 2 energy, 110, put 5 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way that you like. It's fine, but I rather suspect it's not worth the 2 prizes it's going to give up when KO'd. We do have a bunch of cards to look at here, so we are going to have to go at a bit of a pace for some of these. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be okay. The 2 for me, which I absolutely adore, are Steelix and Durant. I will be testing Steelix and Durant. I adore Steelix and Durant. Steelix here, we've got single energy, 130. That's a lot of damage, ladies and gentlemen. That's a lot of damage. Plus, you got 180 HP on a single prize stage 1 Pokemon. That is huge, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, Onix always has a lot of HP. I mean, the Onix in this particular set, for an example, because I don't know, why not? It's got 120 HP as a basic. You aren't going to be taken out by all those things that are going after basics all the time. That's really nice. But, yeah, single energy, 130, that's really, really good. Obviously, this will wreck Chen Pao decks, which will be hilarious. But also, it's just good damage. Single energy stage 1s, that is my jam, ladies and gentlemen. That is my jam. We do have to do 30 damage to each of our bench Pokemon, but that's where Durant comes in. 2 energy, 20 damage for each damage counter on all of your Durant. So if you've got 4 Durant on the bench, then all of a sudden, you do 30 to each of them. Well, that means there's 120 damage on your Durant. Times 2, it's 240, ladies and gentlemen. That's really, 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 really good. I like this very, very much indeed. It is going to be an issue, though. You have to play Manaphy so that you don't get KO'd by bench damage. You have to play Jirachi so you don't get KO'd by bench damage counters. That alone means you can only have 3 Durant on the bench, and even then, it means you don't have a backup Onix for when your Steelix goes down. So, yeah, and then you're trying to leave your Durant with 10 HP remaining, which isn't exactly always the best plan in the world. I mean, look, there's a lot of problems with this, I'm going to be honest with you, but I love this Steelix, ladies and gentlemen. It's single energy, 130. That is exactly the kind of thing I've been playing for years. I am going to test this. I am going to play this. Is it going to end up being particularly good? I don't know. Probably not. That doesn't mean I'm not going to have a lot of fun with it. Now, the Miltank is also very interesting, but kind of annoying. I opened up 45 packs of Paradox Rift. Miltank is a common. I did not pull this Miltank. 120 HP, all right. 2 energy, 60 damage, but if this Pokemon was healed during this turn, this attack does 90 more damage. Yay! The problem is it's still only 150, you're not hitting for weakness, and then you've got to find something like a stadium to damage it and then a healing card as well. Bit gimmicky, but I just wanted to point out that 150 damage on a basic Pokemon is honestly pretty good. And yeah, you can use double turbo to pay it, although it will then be 130. And if you can damage it and heal it and get the double turbo, you can do 130 turn 1 going second and start just wrecking those basic Pokemon. That is absolutely an option, but it does start sounding like it's asking a little bit much, I think is probably the polite way to put it. Sorry. Now, low kicks is one which is actually sneaky good. Firstly, it's the first darkness type low kicks, which is cool. Single energy, 30 damage, switch to the bench, nah, nobody cares. But for 2 energy, 10 damage base, plus 40 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. And I was chatting about this with the lovely Antoine Boulet, and they asked if 40 more damage for each damage counter was the most we've seen, and I think it might be. Like, you know, good things around that do this kind of stuff, like Raticate from 151, for instance, that's 30 for each damage counter on your opponent's active. 40 is absolutely huge. Yeah, it's 2 energy, which is a little bit of a pain, but don't forget we've got Dark Patch back nowadays, so that second energy is actually quite easily paid. And I don't know, 2 energy on stage 1 to do this much damage? This one could be legit, ladies and gentlemen. This one could actually be legit. Now, we've got a new Kingdra coming along. Stage 2, single energy. Look at the top 6 cards of your deck. You do 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy you find. Then discard those energy cards and shuffle all the others back into your deck. And look, this is awkward all the way around. It's a stage 2, boo, hiss, etc. I get it. And, of course, you need to get to the stage where your deck is pretty much just energy, although, of course, what we're going to do here is we're going to reuse Energy Recycler towards the end of the game, and then that's going to basically fill your deck with just energy. But this potentially lets you do 360 damage anywhere on the field. That is enough to KO any Pokemon, and it can be done anywhere on the field. Yes, it's a stage 2, but it's only for a single energy. And actually, this is a lot of damage to direct anywhere. We know we can empty our deck and then just make it all energy. People have been doing that with Kyogre, for instance, in Lost Boss decks recently. And I don't know. It's awkward. I know it's awkward. I am agreeing with you that it's awkward. But I'm telling you, this is a lot of damage to direct literally anywhere on the field. I just think this is pretty gosh darn cool, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is pretty gosh darn cool. Now, Exploud comes along, single energy, discard your opponent's active and all attached cards. I like Exploud, and I love the single energy. I don't like that it's a stage 2. Honestly, simple as that. But if your opponent's only got 1 Pokemon and no bench, this will literally end the game and win. If your opponent's got 1 Pokemon you can't deal with any other way, this will do it. But at the end of the day, this is a stage 2, and I don't know if it's necessarily going to work. Now, Mean Shower is a Pokemon I've always had a soft spot for, and I really want to like this, but I don't know if I can. 2 energy, 50 damage. If you attach the Pokemon tool from your hand to this Pokemon during this turn, it does 70 more damage. But it's for 2 colorless, so again, we want to use double turbo, but again, that brings it down to 100. And you're hitting a decent weakness, but you're only doing 120. And once you attach a tool, you've then got to remove the tool to reattach it, and I like Mean Shout, alright? I want this to work. I actually cut a bunch of tournaments, I even won a couple of smaller tournaments with Mean Shout back in the day. I'm talking about the one from Furious Fist, and I tested the one from the Rapid Strike one a lot. Never worked, but I tested it a lot. The one from Furious Fist, I legit was topping tournaments for a couple of months with that. I loved it. Nice hit and run fight. We had good, really good fighting support at the time. That is important to note. But I think we are just in a situation now where it's just not good enough, and I'm sorry. Makes me sad. In the early game, you might want an Oricorio, though. And we haven't had a Lightning Oricorio for a little while, so this is cool. Single energy, shuffle your hand into your deck, draw a card for each bench Pokemon, yours and your opponent's. This could be a shuffle draw 10. If you've got a full bench and your opponent's got nothing, it's a shuffle draw 5. They're probably going to have a couple. If you want an early game Pokemon to set you up, and maybe you don't mind going down a prize because you want to be able to activate cards like Counter Catcher, for instance, This is actually legitimately really good. If you want an early game Pokemon to help you draw cards and get set up, and you don't mind going down a prize, and that last bit is very important, you have to recognize you're probably going down a prize if you use this. Yeah. Oricorio's really good. Elekid is not good. 0 energy, 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. I appreciate the fact that you can deal 30 damage anywhere and you don't have to use any energy. Brilliant. Really, I'm mentioning Elekid because it's the first Elekid we've had since Triumphant. And Triumphant was many, many years ago. So, yeah. This is the first Elekid we've had since the Elekid that came out in Triumphant in 2010. November 2010. Oh, that's weird. Triumphant came out on November the 3rd, 2010. This set comes out in English on November the 3rd, 2023, exactly to the day 13 years later. It's not good, but it's the first one in, weirdly, exactly 13 years, so I figured I had to at least give it a quick mention, and I have. Let's move on. Right, Gorgeist has an ability, so I'm going to tell you what it does. I really don't like it. If it's knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, discard 2 random cards from their hand. I've got to give up a prize. If they KO with damage counters, etc., it doesn't activate. It's 2 random cards, so they could be good, but they could be bad. No. Don't like Gorgeist. I'm sure some people are going to play it in some control decks, or at least try it. Don't like Gorgeist. Really don't like it. But it's a new Pokemon with an ability, so I suppose I should at least tell you. Now, Liepard has a chance to be legitimately good here. Single energy. Move all damage counters from one of your bench Pokemon to your opponent's active. If you can get a bunch of damage counters on one of your bench Pokemon, move them with Liepard, that is really, really, really very good. I kind of want to say, hey, it's another tool for Zoroark decks, because it's a stage 1 and Zoroark can morph into a stage 1 in the discard. The problem is, you're never going to have enough damage on your bench because Zoroark plays weak Pokemon. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Zebstrika is a very, very fun one. Single energy. Choose basic lightning energy cards from your discard pile up to the number of prize cards your opponent has taken and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Not bad. Also, it can do 150 for free energy, plus 50 to itself. Don't sleep on that. But Burst of Braying. Love that attack name. Yeah, it just gets you a bunch of energy. The problem is, the best time to use this is when your opponent's taken 5 prizes, and you get to attach 5 energy, but then all they have to do is KO Zebstrika to win. But still, in the mid to late game, play an Iono, put your opponent down to 2 cards, and then use this to accelerate 4 energy. That could work. This could be a nifty little card that helps you with an annoying comeback. Keep an eye on this one, is all I'm saying. Keep an eye on it. And then finally, one card I actually really like, but again, it's a stage 2, Orbeetle. Because for a single energy, 30 damage for each energy card in your opponent's discard pile. That ain't too bad, ladies and gentlemen. Against energy-hungry decks, they might have 7, 8, 9 energy in the discard pile, so you're doing 210, 240, 280. No, 270, there we go. It's good. It's going to make you do some maths, unfortunately, but it's a kind of interesting card. And there we go. That was a lot of cards to get through in a very short period of time. But we did it, ladies and gentlemen. For me, it's Steelix and Durant, which I think could be legitimately good. I think Oricorio as a Pokemon, if you don't mind going down a prize, is really very good. And Lokix, I think, could be sneaky brilliant. The others, I do think there is some potential here. Except Gorgeist, that I only showed you because it's got an ability and people are going to want to know what it does. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about all of this, and which of these cards you like. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. Oh, and get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Unknown One, who's been a supporter of ours for a while and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for being awesome. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.